Okay, we're good.
All right. Well, it is noon. Time for the regularly scheduled Whatcom County Fire Protection District number 4 Board of Commissioners regular meeting. And we have a quorum, myself and Commissioner Johnson. So just help me out here, Chief, at least what you know, because this is the first meeting sort of after the emergency proclamation on, open public meetings and whatnot. Can you tell me or explain, help me understand kind of where we're at and what we're doing to, comply with that or make accommodations, just sort of so we're all on the same page?
Right now, what we're doing is we're doing our best to comply, and we're like you use the word accommodation. That's the correct word. We are posting the link to the meeting so that the public could actually go to our website and click on the link and come straight into the meeting, so that you could open, if there was public here, you could open it for public comment like we would if we were meeting in person. In the interim, what we're going to try to do is the county EMS has expressed some interest in putting a video conference call system into Station 12 in the big training room there, and funding it. So we're going to pursue that and see if we can, if they're willing to spend the money, then we'll do that, and that would allow us to be able to meet sort of in a hybrid. So even if the commissioners couldn't be there physically, I could be there. That way, open the doors, turn the lights on, public comment could happen. It could be interactive with you if you have to be in your office or away. And that way we would be 100% compliant with the statute or the statute as it says today. But for now, we're doing our best to provide the accommodation.
Okay, yeah, no, sounds good. Thanks for all the work you guys did to comply with that. So, and we post the meeting agenda that's on the website. We post that before the meeting, and
yes, sir.
So just a thought I had is if we want to encourage public participation as we are able to do that through this forum, my thought is that we actually have a specific line on the agenda, and I don't know where the best place that would be, to allow people time to join, but maybe toward the end, we could actually have somewhere between correspondence and announcement, we sort of identify that as public comment time. And then if anybody's been watching and they want to comment on the meeting that's, just happened or something earlier, everybody kind of has an idea of, when people would have an opportunity to do that. And then I would just say, okay, this is the time of the meeting that we would open it up for public comment. If there's anybody there, anybody wants to participate, the meeting is now open for public comment. And then, we have our public comment session. People either are there or they're not. And then I would just say the public comment portion of the meeting is now closed. And we just kind of move through as if it's just an agenda item. Just kind of a thought.
And that's kind of how we have it here set up today, so that if you look at the agenda, you can see A is call to order, roll call, B is public comment, and that's where we posted the Zoom link. So that, yeah, and traditionally that's where it's been done. If you would like to move the public comment to a later part of the meeting, to the later part of the agenda, we can absolutely accommodate that.
I don't know. Does anybody else? Oh, and by the way, it looked like Commissioner Cooley joined us. We probably weren't even 30 seconds into the meeting. So Steve, you didn't miss much. I was just kind of talking about how we've moved to comply with the most recent proclamation that doesn't really exist anymore for the, open public meetings. And then I was just, you heard the rest of it. So do you guys have any thoughts about if the public comment portion of the meeting should be moved, or how we should, do that to create more opportunities for people?
I'm comfortable with keeping it in its current location in the agenda, and right after the roll call, you roll into a public comment period for those who'd like to make any comment.
Okay. It kind of forces people to, I guess, to be on time, ready to go.
Yeah.
All right. Steve, you have any thoughts on that?
No thoughts. Would you refresh my memory? Were you suggesting to move it later in the meeting to give people more of an opportunity, or what were your thoughts?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And then, if anybody was watching the meeting and something came up at this particular meeting, then, they wouldn't have missed an opportunity for the public comment portion. Was kind of my thought to bring it toward the end of the meeting.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't think I have a strong feeling on it one way or the other, as long as we get the comment period in there somewhere. But I certainly see merit to what you're saying. I don't know, maybe we can check with the chief to see what other fire districts do.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way is fine with me.
I'll ask around. I've got a place I can query people.
Great. Thanks. Might be helpful just to know if anybody else does it this way, but.
Yeah. I think it sounds like the consensus is, we don't really have any strong feelings where it goes. It's just the idea behind it would just be to, if one place or another in the meeting allows or creates more opportunities for people to comment, I think that's probably the direction we're going.
Yeah, I would agree with that summary.
Okay. So that takes us to the consent agenda. Item C. All matters within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Board of Commissioners for review or considered routine and will be enacted by one motion of the board with no separate discussion. If a separate discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request. Included in the consent agenda are the meeting minutes from the May 16th regular meeting, staff reports, which include the chief operations, training, and technical support reports, financial report, and vouchers, payroll, and benefits, to include the monthly expenditure payroll voucher of $512, monthly expenditure voucher at $575,966.25. And the expense fund revenue for May is listed at $159,727.22. Total expenditures for June, $576,478.25. Yeah, so that's the consent agenda. Everybody had a chance to review that, and any questions, comments? All right, if none, could I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move.
I will second that.
It was moved and seconded that the consent agenda be approved. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, under unfinished business, Britton Loop Station 12 maintenance update. Why are you both smiling?
because it's the best thing to do.
Because the forehead can't beat into the wall any further, unfortunately. Still in struggling to try and find any kind of contractor that wants to even touch siding right now. And it's I'm getting a lot of no's. We're not interested, or we can't even talk to you till next year. So I'm still keeping some of those in mind, just because it may be that nothing can be done on it until next year anyway. So that's kind of where we stand right now with the painting and the exterior of the building. The rest of the facilities are in check. We're not having any issues with the HVAC or plumbing or anything like that, thank goodness. And those are just being maintained as normal. The biggest thing, like I said, has been the exterior of the buildings that we're just waiting to try and get some sort of direction from any contractor, at least getting pricing. So I am looking at both options, like we talked about before, of having the siding replaced versus repaired, and looking at both options. So, once I can get, a hardy plank siding bid, that'll give us a good direction to whether we want to do repairs or whether we do replace. So.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
Any questions on that, on Station 12 maintenance? Questions or comments?
No questions. Thanks for your efforts.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Smith Road Station 13 update.
We've hammered out an agreement with DNR. It's for a 5-year lease with a $2,000 a month rental fee, which fell in line with the comps that DNR had. So our ask wasn't too little, too much. It was dead on. There, other than the structural maintenance and the maintenance of the mechanical parts inside of the building, such as HVAC, plumbing, things like that, they are going to take care of all the maintenance, including the lawns, snow removal, all that kind of thing. You had seen that we'd asked the attorney for his kind of opinion on it. They acquiesced to everything the attorney said and said, yep, that's good to go. So I wouldn't mind an advisory thumbs up. If you're good, I'll sign that contract and get it back to DNR and they can get off and running. They're going to pay all the utilities for everything. They're going to pay water, sewer, garbage, all that good stuff. Like I said, we will just be responsible for the physical building itself, which is typical in leases. So,
is that, yeah, thank you. Sounds good. Is that pretty typical that you would sign contracts on our behalf?
It is. Yes, I am. You and I have the same signing authority. Like I said, I would prefer if you would kind of on the record give me your blessing. But I do have the ability to sign contracts like that. Yes.
So forgive me, but if I missed it, was the actual lease, was that in the packet and I just didn't see it?
I did not stick the lease in the packet. If you would prefer to see it, I can link up with you today, no problem. And if you would like to sign it, that's totally,
No, I'm not, I'm not looking to sign it. I was just looking to see it before I
will, you know what, that's
I don't
mistake.
know. I mean, maybe I'm being too providing too much oversight here. You said our attorney reviewed it?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
And he gave me a punch list back of things that he wanted to see different. And I essentially whitewashed that of the attorney's name and said, here's my suggestions. This is what the board would like to see. And the DNR gave us a thumbs up and said, yep. And then it gave us a revised contract that included all those things. And yeah, you know what? I apologize, gents. It's my mistake. I should have sent that revised contract out for you to see. So I can certainly do that after the meeting if you'd like to. Why don't I just do that? I'll scan it, send it out to you. And then if you could just individually reply to me, do not reply all. And that then we can get it going.
Was there a line on the signature page that would have provided a line like approved to by form or content with our attorney signing, or was that not on there?
No, it's not on there.
Okay, not a big deal. I was gonna say if it was, maybe we could, forego all of this other stuff, but I don't know. I just think as it'd be a good practice if we're gonna be signing contracts, and if there was some back and forth on language, it never hurts to have another sets of eyes on stuff like that.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said, what I did was I sent the original document to Mr. Quinn. He went through it line by line, and then so I can send you his revisions back, and then include them with the final document, so you can see what they've agreed to and where they quote unquote gave. So.
Okay. Yeah. Just for me, I think that'd be a better process.
Perfect.
If the other two commissioners want to make a motion and vote to give you that approval, that's up to them, and that would be a majority. But I guess Tim or Steve, are you comfortable giving the chief the ability to sign that right now, or would you prefer to kind of see some of the progression like I've been talking about?
Well, I recall seeing our attorney's comments on it, and they seemed what he was requesting or recommending seemed very reasonable to me. So I'm very happy to hear that we've been able to get an agreement that the parties agreed to, and they are paying utilities and some of the things we're concerned about at the time. So thank you for the good work on that, Chief. And I'd be happy to take a look at it prior to it being executed. But once we do that, I'm certainly comfortable having the chief sign it.
Yeah, thanks. Steve?
Yeah, I would echo what Tim said. I'm happy to, if the chief wants to send the finished contract and include it as part of the packet at the end of this meeting, I'm happy to look it over. I too saw the attorney's original request for changes. So yeah, if we include it in the packet, and then we can each send him an individual email saying, yeah, looks good. I'm happy to do that.
So, okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, appreciate that feedback, Tim and Steve. I didn't want to feel like I was driving us, in a direction that, was pointless. So sounds like maybe we could take a look at that, and doesn't sound like there'd be much of a delay, Chief. So yeah, appreciate that.
So Chief, just to clarify, if I may, we're not granting you authority to sign it, right? You have authority already. You would just appreciate an advisory vote, kind of, typically supporting you.
When I do the same thing with D21, if there's any kind of legal thing that we're entering to outside of a routine office, for a copier, I'm not going to ask the board about a copier lease or something like that. But something like this, where we're talking about real property, I just feel like the board that there would be an advisory vote that we can reflect back on in the minutes later if we need to. So,
well, so for the minutes, it sounds like, just to make it part of the record, that there's, sorry, forgot to silence that. Sounds like there's unanimous consent that we would go ahead and, approve that and ask you to sign on our behalf. We would just, pend that your signature on that lease, just allowing us time to review the final lease. But clearly you've got the green light to do that once we've had a look.
Yep. Nope, that makes total sense. I'm good with that.
All right. On the new business, I'm sorry, any other unfinished business on anything? Okay. The new business was the meeting with the Bellingham mayor that we had last week. And I think the chief did a great job of sort of summarizing it in his chief's report. Yeah, it was the mayor and a couple of his budget financial folks, myself, and then both chiefs, our chief and Bill Hewitt. And I basically teed off the meeting by, just reviewing and acknowledging the letter that we had sent the mayor. He said that he had read it, and painted the picture of, looks like the future. We don't know the timeline, but it's just kind of inevitable that Bellingham appears to continue to annex and eat away at our district, and that impacts our assessed valuation and ability to pay our bills. And we've had this relationship with 21 for all these years, and now we're just not sure who we're going to partner with, but we need to partner with somebody. And that's kind of how we kicked it off. And yeah, we looked at maps, we looked at options and possibilities. Everything was really on the table. The good thing from my perspective coming away from that meeting, and Jason, you can maybe add more detail here once I'm done with this monologue, but it ended with the mayor basically saying, yeah, I'm interested in partnerships and we need to move forward, working together. Nobody really knows what that looks like. But he clearly gave Chief Hewitt at least what appeared to be the ability to continue to be creative, talk about options, and work with our chief and us to fill any kind of gaps or foreseeable shortfalls until we can formalize a relationship with the city of Bellingham. Again, not knowing what that would look like. So Jason, was that kind of the elevator version?
Yeah, I think so. What I got was that they wanted to have some internal discussions, and then would kind of give Chief Hewitt his marching orders from there. But he did use the word partnership and continuing to be good partners, that kind of language. So that was positive to me, and I don't think we could have asked for anything else out of the meeting, excuse me, other than that, and an acknowledgement that we're all in this together. So.
Yeah. You guys have any specific questions about what happened or what might happen next?
Sounds good to me.
I think that's very.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
I'm sorry, Steve. No, I was just going to say, I think that was very positive. That had a cooperative tone to the meeting, and they're willing to look at options with us. I guess the one question I would have is that they discuss potential, like when we might start actually looking at some sort of options, developing those options. Is it 6 months out or longer?
We were pretty blunt about the time frame. He asked how long is the current agreement with District 21, and then what were District 21's kind of direction going forward. And he seemed to kick it up a notch when we said, well, we've got an agreement through the end of 2022, and then the District 21 board has agreed to 6 month extensions after that, with for getting through 2023. And I think that sent him that was the right message to send him about kind of the immediacy of needing to come to a solution. Still needs to be carefully thought out and have kind of fully hashed out, but I think he understood. I think it was a wise, on behalf of both boards, I think that was a wise decision to kind of word the contract extensions like that. It gave him an idea that, yep, this is something we've got to get on this. We've kicked the can down the road far enough, and now it's time to do something.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with what Tim said. Everything sounds good. I had a question about kind of the timeline, because I believe the summary you wrote in your chief's report said that you and Chief Hewitt are going to start getting together and working on that. So when you guys do end up coming with kind of what looks like a rough timeline to your deliberations and all that, that would be great if you kind of share that with us. But I'm sure you will.
Yeah, as I envision it, that we'll start with, we'll actually reverse plan the whole thing. And you know what I mean? Kind of try to reverse plan the whole thing backwards, just so we can start with an ending date in mind. So.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Doesn't look like there's any correspondence. Anything come in at the last minute, Chief?
Oh, just that single letter from the homeowner on North Shore there.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a question about that. Did we respond to him in writing, or how did we respond to him?
Actually, Chief Ward initially took a phone call from him, and I wasn't in the office, but by all accounts handled it very well. The staff was singing his praises when he got off the phone, although apparently it did come with a soaking wet sweat mop. So, and then Chief Ward encouraged him to write a letter to the board, just so that they, that it would, so that it could kind of be entered in the official notice. So, yeah. Okay. John, if you want to add anything about how your phone call ended, or.
Well, my big question was, I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm certainly willing to hear from him, but my big question is perhaps to Mark and Tim. My thought is, since he wrote a letter to the board, do we need to respond to that in writing? It might be nice to have something on the record that we did respond. So I don't know, that was my one question I wanted to discuss with you all. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to. I agree.
Okay. I'd be happy to draft something for all of us to sign, or I just, in my personal experience, it's always been, I've always been really committed to trying to respond to letters like that directly. I mean, I really appreciate that the chief took that call, and I have no doubt that it went just like you're saying, but I just would hate for there to be any kind of a claim later that, well, we just ignored the letter, never responded. So I'm happy to draft something to send to the chief, and I don't know how we can do that, or we can discuss it.
No, that sounds great. If you're willing to do that, I don't feel the need to have any sort of, review process. I mean, you can write and sign it either on behalf of yourself or the board. I would be perfectly comfortable and happy with whatever you want to do and whenever you want to do it.
Okay. Tim, what do you tell? What, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, if I can get Tim's thoughts on that too?
Yeah, Steve, thanks for offering that up. I totally support that. I think it would be good for there to be a written response to the citizens' concerns. So thank you.
And I can just sign it as a board member, and I won't reference that you all are approving it either. It'll be a cordial response and kind of probably echoing some of the things the chief told him, but.
Okay. If you change mine at the last minute and want to send it on behalf of the board, I'd be good with that too.
Okay, thank you. I'll get with you, Chief Vanderveen, and we'll discuss.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, July 18th for the next board meeting. Does that still work for everybody? Works for me. I'm seeing not. Yep.
Works for me.
Okay.
Works for me as well. Are we still thinking of continuing with the noon Zoom call, or from your comments earlier, Chief, it sounds like we potentially could do something hybrid?
We could potentially do something hybrid. I don't know that it will be in place by July. With the what do you call it? The supply chain right now. It could take a couple months to get up and running.
Okay, so we're still looking at July 18th, noon. All right. And then for the next agenda item for the next meeting, we've got Regional Fire Authority / merger, possibly that discussion coming up next month. Anybody have anything else that they'd want to tee up at all for the next month's meeting? Kind of see how things go. Okay. So just before we kind of wrap things up here, Chief, I just wanted to double check. Has anybody, any of our citizens or anybody else, indicated that they want to speak or public comment or anything like that?
No one is asked to join the meeting.
Okay. All right. And documents for us to sign are at the fire station
In the drawer. Yep.
Okay.
One, just go to the order. Have you all received emails about the Washington State Fire Commissioners Conference in October?
No,
No. Okay.
I don't. So
We'll forward them out. I'll forward them out to you guys so you can see it happens in Spokane, October 27th and 28th. And it's an educational conference, a chance to network, find out what other departments are doing, or other districts are doing, how they're tackling problems. It's a good educational opportunity and a chance to meet other commissioners. I will make sure that we get something out to you so that you can see. They haven't released a ton of information about it yet, but they have started to push some out. So we'll get that out to you.
You said this was in October?
Yes, sir.
So just something to consider. If the three of us, wanted to go, perfectly fine. We would just need to remember that we would constitute a quorum, and we wouldn't want to be conducting any kind of business while we were at the meeting over there. Same if two people wanted to go, one person wouldn't be an issue, but don't let the Open Public Meetings Act be any kind of a barrier to continuing education, continuing training. We just need to make sure that if more than one of us is there, we're not conducting any business.
copy that.
All right. All right. Anything else?
After me.
Thanks, everybody. And if not, we are adjourned.
All right.
Thank you.